Cuicide in the building. And today I got my loved one in the building with me, man. Lucky from Cookies.
So,
Family.
what's
Fam
happening?
Bam, what's good, man?
What's good, man? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, thanks for coming. Look, today you on the other end today. You normally doing the interviews.
I know, man. It's usually us. We're busy. So today they're fitting me with the headphones. Make sure you stay on the mic and everything. It's all right. Get straight on the other side.
Oh yeah, definitely,
This
man.
is great, man. It's a wonderful place. You guys have it. It's just really nice over here with No Jumper and everything you guys got going on. Your compound and
it's amazing. Family.
ate some bomb ass cookies just now in your green room.
Fire,
right? I had to get out of there quick, or you're gonna have to roll me out of that fucking place.
You can't just eat one.
No, man.
Them bad boys, keep killing them bad boys for sure.
You know what? I did want to get. I brought some stuff for you today. I brought you some cookies, some some flour and some things. Brought you. I made sure to bring you some Vibes rolling papers.
Okay.
We got the Vibes rolling papers, and we got you some fits in there as well. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm fitted.
I'm making sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And
Thank
that's good looking out over at Cookies. Cookies Melrose, Cookies Hollywood up there, those people over there, and Christian and the fam over at Cookies Clothing on Melrose. Everybody said what's up.
Tell the family, as always, man. Tell my loved ones, I said what's up. Always. It's always good to see them when I come over there, man. It's nothing but good energy all the time.
Always, brother. And everybody over there, we all got OG Cuicide's back over there, you know?
Mandatory.
So, that's
for
family,
real.
brother.
1,000,000%.
They're a great show, man. We've got to do another Hard Luck show.
Okay.
And have you come on, man. A lot of you moved a lot of our listeners. You certainly moved everybody in the audience that day.
That's tight.
I mean, everybody that was there in the studio.
Yes.
With such a depthful, powerful story and message. And we got to follow up. We got to stay on it. So
let's do it.
Hopefully, we're going to be able to, listeners out there.
Yeah.
After this show.
Oh yeah.
We may be lining up another one. And
we definitely can. We are.
Yeah.
We are.
You're consistent, I'll tell you that. You are, man.
No, I have to.
You have to be, right? And we're working with. We got a little surprise with Cookies and Dre Hill.
Yes.
You'll start seeing some visuals on some of that, and it's just it's good, man, that I'm able to link with another statesman like myself.
That's right. Yes.
Constituent, like myself.
Yes.
And a peer, and we can handle business and. Man, you in many ways do a lot of the similar things that I do, man, in the sense that, I at least try my best to be a leader and lead. And there's young guys, man, and some of them really do want to listen and do want to learn.
Yes.
And, I want to hand it off to anybody, young or old. But, man, I try and be somewhat of a mentor. I more just try and live it.
Yes.
And if you recognize it, and that's, you know what I'm saying? And I know that you do too, man. You care about your young artists that are around you, your constituents that are younger than you, the generation. You're constantly it's in your dialogue. It's when we speak, when we talk about it. It's in your actions. You've always got something going on, and man, I appreciate that about you. OG.
Likewise, family. For real, likewise.
Big reason why I absolutely, when you invited me to the show, I was like. Of course I want to be on your show, man.
Oh, yeah, mandatory, because I also know, man, that, from everything that you do, I know that there's a story there from where you come from, what led you to, where you at now. Like, where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in West LA, Santa Monica primarily.
Okay.
I was an Italian and Jewish kid from West LA. My dad was a Sicilian, and my mother was Jewish. And growing up young, when they were still together, because they separated early. But when I was a little kid, living on the West Side, I really didn't fit in with anybody. I didn't look like the other kids that were part Jewish, or we didn't have any money, and. I just never really fit in anywhere, and I think I had somewhat of an identity crisis, and Dad wasn't there, and it was just a lot of different things that went on. And by the time I was about 12 years old, and my dad was living in Santa Monica, and my mom was like, "You're going to start spending weekends with your dad." And I showed up at my dad's, and my dad lived in, because my mom lived in the area of West LA that was pretty much black and white, split
Yes.
right down the middle.
Okay.
Well, my father was in the center of a Chicano neighborhood, fully Chicano neighborhood in Santa Monica.
Okay.
So when I got there, I was embraced by the kids just on the block where he lived.
Yeah.
They weren't worried about, was I wearing the right tennis shoe or the right label. They just embraced me. And at that point in time, I started changing about my social circles and who I felt I was a part of, you know? And
Yes.
and so I say all that to say that, you know, man, for a long time, I wanted to be Chicano, and I consider myself Chicano in many ways. You know, I'm part of that, of the movement and the struggle, and the gente, and I consider myself that. And I kind of, you know, those were my people, and that's where I congregated and kind of moved towards. And so I grew up on the West Side, and
Okay.
yeah,
Like you said, they embraced you.
they embraced me, man, and those are my people. I mean, I don't think blood has anything to do with it at that point.
No.
It's who are
Loyalty.
your people, man.
Yes.
You're right,
Loyalty.
exactly. And yeah, and that kind of like, you know, and different people in today would look at me and, oh yeah, you know, you look like you're Chicano, you know, and you know, you take on, you know, I wanted to. I mean, but I remember at a young age, man, and I you know, kind of started running around and ended up getting involved in the neighborhood right over there, you know?
Yeah.
And
With
I
the street life.
exactly. And I remember early on, I was attracted to that, but I also remember seeing older homies coming home from YA and from prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew kind of, once I kind of got mixed up, you know, in that life, that I admired these guys, and I was, I kind of romanticized it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
OG, and I think you understand, like, if I have to be really, really honest, like, I probably at 17 or 18 made a subconscious decision that I can't wait to get to prison. I'm going to prison.
Because you was living that life.
Right. And for guys like us, like, if you're listening, you know, like that story of a man coming into his own and all that, like, you know, for some races or maybe income brackets of different, you might go off to college, and you'd go spend college, and you go have your experience and your education, and you come back. And for where I was coming from, prison really looked like that was the institution.
So that was the college.
That was really the college, you know, and you wanted to get there. And so I kind of knew, and, you know, listen, man, you know, I had got involved with everything that street life offers, and you get in young, and it seems at the time that it's kind of a game and fun, and very quickly, especially if you guys are from Los Angeles and you're running around in the 80s and 90s in Los Angeles and that life, it got real quick, you know. And I just remember had this feeling like I felt like a kid to some degree, and all this shit was going down. Like we were living like adult cowboy life.
Yes.
But it was happening to kids. So, you know, all that, and as well, OG, you know, I've spoken on it before, you know, that I had my struggles with, you know, substance. You know, I struggled with substances, man. And I've struggled with substances my whole life, you know, and I believe they were at some point a precursor as well. You know, I was addicted to street life as much as I was addicted to drugs, and
you was introduced to it from the older homies?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you know, and
it was like you looked up to these people.
I looked up to them, you know, and it's like they're wielding power. They've got 20-inch arms, tatted back. They're getting respect from everybody. All the chicks want it, and but they got a needle in their arm too. So you're taking all of it in, right? Yeah, I'm curious about it all, you know.
That life became your life.
Yes, man. And you know, by 17, I had tried, you know, shooting dope, and I mean, from the gate, I was with the business, and that only took me to probably where I was going quicker. You know,
It sped it up. You would
sped
say
it up, and
okay.
You know, as the drugs increase, so do the level of the crimes increase, and everything starts to kind of add up. And then I started going to prison, man. And you know what? I started fighting some big cases, you know, and you know, and I had a newborn kid, you know, and I was young, you know, and I was also trying to be somewhat legit and build a brand. And I was trying to finance the brand through some illegal different activities. And I ended up
What was the
getting in
name of
trouble.
the brand at the time?
At that time, it was Not Guilty. It was my first. Well, it was my second brand. I had already had a store called Supermax, and I kind of broke off
Okay.
from this. Because even as I'm getting into trouble in the neighborhoods and doing that, because of where my mom lived, I would venture back over there, and over on her side of town, I had friends that I had known from when I was young.
Yes.
And that set of friends, and I also had like people that were doing creative good stuff that didn't want to see me in the mix, so they'd invite me places and take place. That's kind of Esteban Oriole.
Good
and
places.
Right. And so I say that to say that, prior to me going to prison, and even in and out of prison through some stints, I had an interest in apparel, in clothing. That was something I wanted to do. And my at the time, my business partner, Mr. Cartoon, was a great artist, and
Okay.
Esteban Oriole, who's the amazing photographer, director, he was road managing Cypress Hill at the time.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, I wanted to produce the clothes with Cartoon's art, have Esteban shoot it and take it on tour and get it on, and this is like 90, 91, bro. There was no Instagram or nothing.
No social media.
Nothing. So I say that because I don't want to get too like I was living like these two lives, and what ended up happening was it ended up catching up with me. It ended up catching up with me because I wanted to try, and we ran into a situation with Not Guilty where we had a lot of orders and a lot of people wanting to purchase, so much that we didn't have the money to fulfill these orders.
Okay.
And the original financer didn't have that kind of bread. So we didn't know about going and getting a loan, or we didn't even know how to trademark our business. We incorporated it thinking that was a trade. Like these are all these mistakes. Yes. We don't have high school diplomas.
Yeah.
So we don't. So one of my homies tells me, "Hey man, I got a lick," and that lick, was some things that we would go get. We had to go get some things from a place, and And that, and with that split on that lick, that money would have financed these orders that I still had 120 days to make.
So you're like, this is it. I need this now.
Just to set that up. And I'd already been kind of moving in legit.
Mm-hmm.
And it all went south, man. We ended up, just went south from the beginning. There was just some things going on that we didn't plan for. That kind of, and you know what? It's weird, bro. Like, you could have everything planned, and some guy just walks by, right?
Yes, the unexpected.
Unexpected happen. And that just means like you weren't supposed to be doing that shit. You're getting cracked. That one's not going to work for you, right? And that's what happened, man. Like some shit we couldn't, and it all went south. And let me tell you, man, within 48 hours, the SWAT team has surrounded my house, my apartment, where I was living with my newborn and my wife. They weren't there, and off to prison. And, I fought a couple times. I fought, for my life at one point in time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I was lucky, man. And I was lucky. And I did some stints. And when I got out, I would jump back into the role of apparel and working that. And I did. And my partners held on to me. Not Guilty turned into Joker Brand.
Okay.
And so while for a big stint in prison, it was Joker Brand. When I came out, I owned a piece of Joker Brand because Esteban Cartoon made sure that I kept my peace. And
we worked. Joker Brand, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we worked. And, man, it was, and that's where I say, like, the lifestyle, the addiction, that stuff, I would try and run two roads. I'm trying to build this brand,
over
but I'd
here,
be doing
but
this
you go back over here
and do this shit
in the hood.
And caught up to me again. This time I was going to be gone a while. And, I talked to him from the phone in the county, and we were all on a three-way. And they were like, dude, we held this thing for you on the last. But at this point in time, we either got to let the company die, or we got to take your interest and go find a financer. And I was like, of course, bro. And so
you had to let it go.
I had to let it go. You know exactly what I'm saying.
Didn't want to hold them up.
No, never, dog. And these guys looked out for me. The next one I got to take on the chin. And so that all happened. So as I'm saying to you, man, these are like struggles from and it would look from the outside, maybe somebody else looking at it like, why is this guy self-sabotaging his life, And I think that if I were to ignore that and say, well, that's not true, I mean, it's probably subconscious because I don't want to fuck my life up. But at some stage, maybe that's partially true. But there was, it was just me, selfish, trying to take shortcuts. I really had to learn the hard way.
I know that life,
shit, man.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts, bro.
Oh, yeah, you end up doing the same thing twice because you took a shortcut.
Or 3 times,
or
right?
3 times.
And you pay quadruple, right?
Yeah.
I'm going through it right now on some other shit because dumb old, me in my 50s, and I want to take a shortcut like a rookie. I know better. Now
Knowing not to do that.
Right. So these were hard. Listen, man, whatever peace I have in me at this point in it, man, it didn't come by virtue, bro. I had to bang my head over and over. I was one of those guys.
It didn't happen overnight.
No. But I finally, there was a point in time where I got out around 2001, and the cartoon and the stuff on invited me back to work at Joker, and I was doing good, and I'd cleaned up, and that was good, man. And I ended up linking up with this gentleman, Travis Barker, who's the drummer.
I know who that is. Yes.
And I ended up assisting in building a big brand with him called Famous, and from there, yeah, it was big, dude, big, and it was it got to really start like, I really got to start doing what I love to do and finding success in it, and that I ended up, spending a good chunk over there, 5 years or so. Ended up going over to the hundreds and building with Bobby and Ben when they were still just on Rosewood, right off of Fairfax. They were next to Supreme. Their office was next to Supreme.
Okay.
So early in that stream of streetwear, and worked with them closely with them, collaborations and assisting on sales and helping them. And wasn't that long after that I ended up coming aboard with like Drama and Deerdick and the 5-4 guys, D and them, and we started Young and Reckless. Took that on a big run and was well,
good.
and it did well. And these brands have done well. I went and developed the whole brand for Hilfiger, for his son Rich Hilfiger.
Oh wow!
Did that, and then eventually I end up here at Cookies, brand managing Cookies, and overseeing the growth direction of Vibes on the West Coast, and, and the Hard Luck Show and these things. But getting there, OG was fighting this battle, and it was really a battle with myself, more than anybody, and getting out of my own way. And
you figured it out? You figured out that battle?
Yeah. It's not like it's like every day I get up and it's a rainbow, and it's I have to pause. But yeah, I had to let some things go out of my life because they really can't exist in my life, and that's easier said than done. Easier said than done. Yeah. And it took me a lot of trial and error. But you want to know something, man? I saw this podcast, and they had Steven Tyler, the lead singer of Aerosmith.
Okay.
They were like, why don't you? And he goes, man, because I don't want to drink or do a drug because I've know from enough times of experience what I lose, and I don't want to lose it anymore. I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to lose my band. I don't want to lose my and he was named off like 5 things, and I was like, I don't think that's where I'm at, man. I think that my age and just the road itself, the journey itself, took enough out of me that luckily at this point in time, that also adds to like some recovery-based stuff that I do. But it was like, I could have had all this information and knowledge, OG, at 35, but I was just like, I had like this fire in me, that like you just want to go, bro. And it wasn't until I started hitting 50 that I started being like calming down a little bit and like starting to pause,
get wiser,
and starting to think like, man, dude, maybe I don't want to go down that road. First off, I don't know if I'd make it from another run like that. I don't want to gamble my relationship with my kids, man, with my partners, my grandson, with the relationships I have today, so all these things that, there were points in time in my life when I was younger, you know, that fucking I was like fucking on a whim, man. Like, let's go or fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and it catches up to you. I was just talking to somebody today that I have a 4-year-old grandson, and me and him have a relationship because from day one when he was born, I've been consistently in his life.
That's good.
Okay, I didn't have that with my son, bro. I didn't, and I was in and out of the prison. My son or my daughter, both of them, and I was busted, and when I was out, if I was using. I know this sounds bad. I want to be using.
Yes.
I don't want to be with my beautiful. Now I can't imagine how I wouldn't want to. But at the time, that's where I was at.
It had control of you.
It did. So today, you know, it's I have that relationship with my grandson, dude. Like we see each other a couple times a week. I go take him to breakfast. We go to the park every Sunday. It's important, and that's a gift, bro, that I get to. You know, that my son doesn't hold no fucking harbor any feelings enough that he he's like, I see my kids, so I'm grateful, man. It's a chance
you're making
to do
up what you didn't do now through your grandson.
Yeah,
being
absolutely.
a grandfather for your grandson, being there, full-fledged, full time,
man. Absolutely, and you know, man, OG, we talked about it before, man. I'm blessed to have the opportunities with these brands. You know, I've been with I've been with some great brands. You know, I've been able.
And that's
to really
your passion.
That's my passion. That's what I do, man. I build apparel brands. You know, I love it, and you know, I feel very, very grateful to just be still in it, building on almost on just a new page. I think we're kind of all. I think the people that know, meaning us, and people that are kind of in it, you know, this whole apparel thing and a lot of the lifestyle of cannabis, you're starting to see it more.
Yes. Combining.
Right? You see it's combining together. You're seeing it. And that offers like this new lifestyle piece, which I think whenever lifestyles kind of open up and develop, and you can't avoid them. Like when it's not a trend. When it approaches or things start to turn into a different facet, we get to realize it. I think that those are exciting times because I think that any one of those that you open up in the beginning, there's just so much room to explore, expand, try.
Okay, yes.
There's no ceiling. You can't really, what can you do wrong? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's exciting from a design standpoint, from a conceptual standpoint, like looking at it as a lifestyle, man. And, you know, the other thing I think that's good kind of about it too, bro, is like, it's different than streetwear strictly or something like that, because this is almost like if you aren't legit, you're just not going to work.
Point blank. There's no way around it.
There's no way around it. You can't snap your fingers and develop a lifestyle brand in 5 years or 2-3 years. Like, it's not that. You get what I'm saying? And,
yeah, you got to really pound it.
We're seeing it. We're seeing these brands trying you know, try and come out and you're like, you're looking at it and you're like, what the fuck? When did they you know? And you are paying attention to little ones that do have some credibility.
Yes.
And you're watching them kind of bubble and start to, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of cool, bro, because not just anybody can play right now. You know, like the consumer's smarter.
Yeah, to get on the field, you got to really,
You got to,
ready
man.
for it.
And I like that, bro. I like that. You know, it's, and I like competition. I don't really pay attention to the competition, but I like knowing that it's there. You know, I stay so focused on what we're doing. That's why I don't have time to hate.
Yeah,
I'm
for
not
what?
tripping
It
on
don't
what
make
you're
sense.
thinking.
Yeah.
In this world where there's so much of it, you know what I'm saying? Like
it is.
I talked about it. Recently, man, about really being engaged on what you're doing, right?
Okay.
And I've noticed from people around me that have built some really big things, they're so enthralled in what they were doing, they would forget to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were definitely not worried about some of these big brands. The people that were building them, they weren't worried about what anybody was doing because it was so engaged in what they're doing. And I definitely feel like when I'm going to build something or we go, that becomes what it is.
That's what it is.
It really, bro. Like, and if you're somebody lucky enough to where I come to work for you or partner, and you got me, and I'm gonna and that happens, it's on. We're going, bro.
It's full steam
Once
ahead.
yeah, bro. And that's how, it's definitely like that with Cookies, and it's definitely like that with Burn, working with him and
Good
he's
dude.
a great man. Shout out to Big Burn, man. He's
Shout out for sure.
a great example, a great motivating factor in a lot of people's lives. He's overcome cancer. He's just a sweetheart of a guy. Great dad, good family man, son. And I just love the guy all around. I respect him. I love him and I respect him.
That's good.
And when I have that for you, man, then maybe I'm a loyal to fault, but I got that dude's back no matter what, and we have in front of us, they've done a fantastic job, man. Cookies, they've done fantastic. I'm showing up, I've been there for a few years, but I'm showing up to help roll up my sleeves and really take this thing to a level that people have no idea what I'm even talking about. You probably can't wrap your head around it, but I just know that we can do, like, we've not even scratched the surface of what Cookies really, really can be and will be.
And going to be, yes.
And going to be. And
yes.
I'm really, I think that he's got a room full of devoted people that share the same vision as him.
And that's important.
And if you have that, look out.
That's important because I have a brand called One West. Mm-hmm. It started from One West Magazine.
Mm-hmm. I remember One West Magazine.
That's
of course.
me. I'm the founder and CEO.
Really? I remember One West.
I'm the founder and CEO of One West Magazine.
That, man.
Me and my bro, Jason Perea, my god brother, we built it together, and we had the clothing line, One West Clothing. But yeah, One West Magazine was in Barnes and Nobles, 7-Eleven stores everywhere.
Yeah.
I done had from Nick Cannon to Amber Rose to Sick Jack and the Tech Nine, Chris Brown. On the cover, like you name it. But yeah, I'm the founder and CEO of One West Magazine.
Crazy, bro. See, man.
So I understand what you mean by building a brand, and it all came from me getting on the phone with my bro, like, bro, let's start a magazine. He like, a magazine? I'm like, yeah. So, we went and purchased a bunch of magazines to kind of, get a feel for, what we're diving into. Mm-hmm. And one thing I always said was a lot of the magazines that was out there, the pages was flimsy. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure the pages in this magazine I wanted it to be more a collector's item. Okay. So your average pages in a magazine is like 30-pound paper. Our pages was 80-pound paper. Most covers on a magazine are 60-pound paper. Our cover was 100-pound. So it became more of a collector's item. And when we presented it to Barnes and Nobles, they was blew away. Even the distributor, we got a distributor right away. Newsways magazine, they distribute to everyone. And the guy was like, man, how long have y'all had this magazine? I said, well, this is actually our first issue. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I had Problem on the cover when he had the Like What record out. So that was the first cover. Shout out to Jazzy Management, putting that together for me, my big bro. And they was like, y'all sure this y'all first issue? He said, yeah. He said, man, I've been in this magazine business for 30 years. People normally don't get to this stature of a magazine until about 10 years in the business. And this is y'all first issue? And it was like, yeah. And came out 2013, was pushing, dropping them quarterly. And then when the pandemic happened, it kind of like slowed everything down. Mm-hmm. But we getting ready to launch. I got a cover with Adam 22 on the cover. Finna be a 10-year reunion. We moving towards that 10-year reunion anniversary. And man, finna put it back out there again.
Yeah, you need to.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to. That's crazy, man.
Yep.
I remember that, man.
Oh, yeah. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't help but see it.
I was out here, dog. That's what was going down.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man.
So you learn something new every day.
I'm telling you, every time I hang out with you, I learn something new.
Oh, yeah, family. Oh, yeah.
And I'm trying to learn. Staying open to learning, every day.
We have to. No matter how old we get, we still can learn. And one thing I learned too, man, is I've never been the type that feel like a young person can't teach me
Teach you
nothing or show
something,
me
dude.
something. So I even take that in as well.
Absolutely,
You can learn
man.
from everyone.
God damn, man, it just is if you're open to it,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's a lot, man. Like I gotta recognize, you know, I gotta be able to be maybe matured enough to recognize who I am and where I'm at, my
Okay.
age, and,
Okay.
like, and as long as I can kind of stay honest and real with that, with the ego set aside,
Okay.
um, then I can function and I have wisdom. Then I can start using my wisdom from my experience in life. Like they can find like a bunch of guys that are real savvy
Mm.
to replace me. Like
Okay.
and they might know like the newest and like they might be a lot quicker in that way, or they might some other things. But what they don't have is they don't have the experience that I have or the wisdom. And I believe that there's like an age where like you're not too young and you're not too old. And
Okay.
you kind of can like utilize your experience, but still be heard. You know what I'm saying? And you're not like some old fart. And I feel like I'm kind of in that place, and I embrace that, but part of that is not hating on the younger generations. Like
you can't.
I just can't.
I see older people do that, man. They hate on the younger generation, and I'm like, why? Like, okay, maybe that's not, to each his own, and maybe that's not for you. But don't knock them because of it's working for them.
But you've been seeing it.
Yeah.
You've been seeing it since you were hitting your 40s. You started seeing some of your peers doing that.
Yes.
And now at 50, I'm seeing the way that those guys' lives are.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys that I'm seeing, like, it's really true when you start hearing, like, it ain't about that. It's about how they feel about themselves.
Yes.
That's what that is, bro. I don't want to be a sour ass, some chewing on a lemon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talking shit about everybody just mad, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. Like, and I think too, man, it's partly it's remembering that I was young, man, and that they didn't understand me. I was young too. I look crazy to these people back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need to remember that, So yeah, we see some crazy stuff, but it's like, it's a different generation and I'm open to it as much as I sometimes joke around and take stabs. I'm like, man, I want to be in. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what's up too.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Don't keep me in the blind.
Dog. And we wouldn't be we certainly wouldn't be sitting right here. Me and you wouldn't be sitting right here if we weren't to some extent still kids. On the inside,
For real.
I still
family.
fucking feel like a kid, dude.
Blend right in.
Hell yeah,
Let's go.
dog. Yeah,
let's go. Like you
absolutely.
said, roll up your sleeves. Let's get it. Let's bring it to life. Let's bring it to reality. Let's do it,
man. Yeah, I like all that shit. It just hasn't changed for me, And no, man, it's good, brother. But me and you the other day were talking about, having some people around us that are younger that you're like, man, like. I can work with this young man because this young man doesn't think he knows everything.
Yeah.
He's open to listen. And when somebody younger is open to listen and you break that barrier and they're open, well, now as an older person, you're willing to be open to them. And now you've got this thing.
Yeah, it's chemistry.
Right? There's no more like ego. Okay, like once that's kind of established, now you got this chemistry.
Yeah, no ego.
Right. You can start learning. They start teaching you things.
Yes.
And in exchange, you're giving them game. And man, it's important, bro. I think it's important to develop some of that. And I just like, man, I think in this day and age, like father figures or dominant male figures, like that have their head on somewhat. I think it's just lacking, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know it is.
It is
because I meet all sorts of products of it. Right?
Yes. From all walks of life.
From all walks of life, man.
Yes.
That's why they're talking to me or they're, hitting, you know what I'm saying? It comes down to that. And so it's just, man, I don't know, man. I don't know where that came from or how that is, but it's kind of been conscious on my mind the whole time. Somebody's watching me. Somebody, what am I doing? Like, there's people watching me, they're paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yes.
And what am I doing, and I'm
Yes.
and just that simple shit, man. Like, hey, look at, man, I'm talking about it. We're here on a podcast. I'm giving time of myself and my service, even if it's just going and sitting down and listening to somebody, or
Yes.
just different types of service work that I'm involved in. I'm not going to start listing it, because I also not trying to start bragging about telling people the good shit I do, because I just do shit and I don't tell
Just
them,
do it. Yeah. Yeah.
But part of I've had it in me a long time, but getting
it
clear,
comes natural. Yes.
right? It comes natural, but being clear on it, man. Like, that's how I want to live my life. That's what my kids do. They are now like that, because that's what they grow up seeing when I was around, especially as I started to clean my life up. And it is, man, like being
got it all together, and they was able to see the real you.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. And that's like in me, in my heart. There is I have humanity in my heart, man, and I know that I'm here to serve, man. So, and I'm not down to say whether you take it religious or however you take it,
However
on
you take it, yeah.
But I'm saying, I'm here to serve, my brothers and sisters, man. Like, all that. I don't care what your skin. I don't care about any of it.
None of that
bro.
matters
Like,
to me.
You're a human being, man. That's the part that's the race I'm from. The human race.
The human race.
And one.
And that's what One West, stood for. One West, one coast, one entity. And the O in the One West with the one and the O meant to unite the world as one. That's what One West represents, to bring everybody together as one from all walks of life. No matter the color of your skin, none of that matter, loved one.
Right.
Ever.
There it is there. I mean, yeah, man. And listen, I mean, I was running around, running amok in the joint, and what happens in the joint is part of what goes on in the joint. You don't like it, don't go there, But as for many, many people that I'm close with, what you doing there because that's what you got to do with your people. You know what I'm saying? I've never, I just have always felt like when I'm dealing with another man, I'm dealing with another man. Just not, and that's how I grew up in my household with my mom, and we grew up with everything. My mom, she was a theater actress. She had, every color rainbow in our house.
Yes.
And gay, straight, whatever,
Yes.
And that's how my mom was a rainbow over there, and I'm glad that it was, man, because that, I believe, in many ways sets the pace.
I don't discriminate against nobody.
Right.
Your preference, none of that.
Right.
We all human.
Yeah, brother. Yeah. I mean, here's there, dog. So I don't know. And that's kind of maybe that those ideas precede the idea of service and help. Or maybe they came after. It doesn't really matter. But those things are instilled in my heart, that's trying to improve things. And what somebody said to me, we were talking about gentrification, and they were like, yeah, fuck gentrification and fuck this. And I was trying to I was really just trying to, because the West Side in Santa Monica, Venice, like that area got hit. It's been gentrified. Gentrified was what we were talking about 20, 25 years ago.
Yes.
But now that everybody knows what that is, you know what? Here's what I'm going to say, and this is on an overall, I'm going to throw this blanket statement. It isn't gentrification. It isn't the gentrification or whatever that thing is that I'm angry at. I don't mind cleaning up. I don't mind it being safe for people to walk around. I don't mind other races coming to live amongst all the races.
Yes.
Any of that. I think it's like it's the community growing up and moving forward. What I don't like is when you remove the culture out of that area. When you come in and you erase a culture of
Wipe
people,
it out.
when you wipe it out, when you boost up the prices so that the people that
Can't
made
afford.
that city
Yes.
can no longer live there, they get ousted out.
Wow.
That they build up things that don't serve anybody in the community, don't give any jobs. Like, that's part of, if that's what gentrification is, well, then fuck gentrification. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But there's things that these different changes have brought, dog. Like, it's nice to be able to walk through the West Side. And, I mean, and I'm speaking in terms of like my area, there are some good things, but it's just like the way that it's gone about it, and, it's a trip, dude, because I'd see, I spent some time in San Francisco working in the recovery community.
Okay.
And when I was up there, something that I took notice to was that they were doing some development on like in the Mission District. And dude, everybody in the community was marching. And it was all people from the community. And I went over to because they were trying to get people to sign petitions. And I'm like, what's happening? And they're like, look, they're going to build this. They're knocking down this old market, and they're going to build some huge condo with like a Whole Foods. But they don't want to give 20% of the stuff for low income. They don't want to offer up any jobs and all this shit. So they were picketing the whole thing. I was like, damn, to get to do that in their neighborhood, if you want to build some big ass shit, you got to come to terms with the people first.
You have to. It starts there.
It does. And so I feel like
It
should. And I feel like maybe when the gentrification, that move started on the West Side, in the Santa Monica's, in the Venice, yeah, I know the cops ousted a lot of people, but I feel like nobody fought for it. I feel like they let like Google and and just roll right over and just like, and that, of course, man, you're gonna let all those big motherfucking giant silicon, like, and now it's different around there. It's like, it's really fucking affected the West Side, dude. It's like, it's crazy, bro. That side of town has really changed. It's like, it's either tech or tourism. And everything that it was, bro, is being getting like erased by the second.
Wow.
So it's crazy. But, man, it's, definitely things have changed. And I'm definitely one for, I think with my podcast, with coming here and doing your podcast, with a lot of what we work on, I'm definitely a voice that wants to tell a lot of these untold stories, that wants people to remember how we got here, at least, and what the 80s and 90s and that generation was like, because there's a lot of special things in that. So much of what we have today are those things just morphed, but it came from this, and so I'm kind of like probably a preserver of it. I try and there's a lot of stories, man, whether it be written in book literary form. I'm working on a book that I've been working on for the last couple of years.
Okay.
Certainly working on a film and a documentary with Esteban Oriol. And
that's good.
That's good. Yeah, I want to tell in a different way. I'm through Hard Luck Show, we're starting to come up with different ways to produce different types of content in the storytelling realm, and really specifically about a lot of stuff that I saw. I'm not even trying to talk about things I don't know in the culture that I'm from.
Your perspective,
right?
That's what you saw. That's what you lived,
right?
And tell the story how it's supposed to be told, not have nobody tell it for you.
Right, man. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, man. You already know.
Oh yeah,
you already know, man. The gatekeeper that used to control it, they're not the gatekeepers anymore. Like, you can tell your story.
Yes,
you can.
You can.
And whether you want to, make a lot of money or do whatever it is you're trying to do, cool. But you can, I want to tell my story so I can pass it off to my kids.
Yes. Yes.
I want to tell my story so that they're there and people can dive back and be able to get a sense of an understanding or some type of an education of some of these things coming from people that were there, not some writer from, you know, I don't know, fucking wherever the fuck, you know, that came in through some agent that decided, you know what I'm saying? He's going to write a story. I'm like, no.
And they're going to tell it that way, and they didn't live it. They wasn't there. They wasn't around. They don't know the story.
Yeah, and the studio wants this star cast in it because, like, all that stuff that they do, like, when you, it's some of these movies that they make, man, it's like a slap in the fucking face because some of these cats just take the money. They don't give a fuck if they're playing a straight clown up there, like, because they got no fucking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
definitely a clown at the circus.
I mean, and I'm not. Both of our races have been played that role, right?
Yep.
Just you know, and so I do have to say, you know, like our black brothers and sisters have a little bit more of a lead on it, you know, starting to develop more content, hands-on, controlling.
Hands-on,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Doing stuff like that. I mean, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a shout out to 50 Cent, because look at the job he's doing on producing stuff, okay? And I look at that and I'm kind of like, God damn, I feel like I won't say everybody, but I will say, like, I feel like me and Esteban should be turning out the content from this coastline.
And y'all can.
Right.
Because 50, he's smart.
Absolutely. And I don't know if we need to meet up with that guy and it needs to work like that, which, you know, but I see what he's doing and I see why it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And because they shut the fuck up and they let this guy fucking tell a story and do it the way it needs to be done. And I believe we're getting there, and I wanna be in that room. You know what I'm saying? I want to be in that room making those decisions for those plays.
Yes,
ain't nobody barking over me. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, that's something that that these are just important, great stories about American history, based out here in Southern California. Yeah, it's street life, gang life, all that. You know, it's about the streets of Southern California, Los Angeles in particular. There's a lot of stories that need to be told. You know, there's a lot of people that are gone that people will never get the understanding of their essence and these great special different stories. And I want to tell those and paint those pictures. So eventually, you know, listen, I'm a clothing guy, but you know, I'm developing, and I've always had some stories inside of me that I want to share. And listen, man, I don't believe, like, from what we've had to navigate, I don't believe that when you're telling me that you published the magazine. I mean, yeah, I'm surprised that that was your brand.
Yes.
But I'm not surprised that you published a fucking
exactly.
or clothing or this band or this music or or this show. And I kind of like, you know, if you halfway with it and you came from over here, you can do some things. I already know that.
Some things. Put your mind to it and just stay at it. It's gonna happen. You don't know when, but it's definitely gonna happen.
If you stay the course.
When you least expect, when you stay the course. And you will see it blossom, you'll see it grow. You'll be like, wow. Like, okay.
I know, and I try and convey that to some of my younger guys, you know? Just stay on course. You know, I know a lot of guys that they did X. They did this for like 3-4 years, and when that didn't pan out, now they're this, right? The guy that's the fucking director this month, now he's a painter. Now I'm in fucking, you know?
Yes.
And I really believe, I believe that we can do all sorts of things, but get one thing, stick with one thing
until that work,
until that work,
and then merge off, and
you can merge off. You have power, but I think people leave before it happens. You know,
impatient.
A
lot of people get impatient. You know, I tell cats too, even with music, man, if you don't have 10, 15 years to put into it, then
you might not want to do this.
It's not what you want to do.
Right.
Because you can't really say, like, man, I'm trying to be a famous rapper or singer or whatever it is 2 weeks from now. It don't work like that. And some people think that way because they look at all these different artists on TV and shows and social media.
Sure.
That's what I want to do. I'm finna be rich like so-and-so. dang, man, man, it's been 2 years, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, man. I think I'm finna just start going to do this. And it could have been a month or two later, and they would have took off, but impatient. And this is my favorite quote, loved one, that I tell everybody. A hospital not the only thing with patience. And you can quote that.
Damn. Damn, dog. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
You need to make that shirt.
And I had to live up to that. You know, I live by that. Like, I don't know when it's going, man, well, what you think, man? How long you think it's going to take? If I give you an estimate or a number, this is not me doing construction to your home. I can give you an estimate. I can't give you, I don't know. But let's just keep doing what we got to do and watch it work. You're going to see growth the whole time. Straight out.
I feel like the difference is whether it's really that important to you. Like if apparel, if it wasn't my passion, like if that wasn't my thing, I'd had to have given up on it. I would have given up on it. I might have made a good play at it for like a while. I could have acted and pushed through for a few years.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have. And I feel like that's what it is. I would have done the same thing if it wasn't my thing.
Yes.
Because you can only act for so long. That's one of the gifts of like going to prison. Like, you're gonna find out who motherfuckers are when you spend a few years with them, dude. Like, you can only act for so long. You can only act. So in this situation, it's because it's not just about me hitting it big and getting paid. The actual getting up and doing it every day.
Yes.
I'm all right with that.
That's important.
I have to like that. If I have a problem, if I'm not really cool with that, but I'm doing that shit so I can get the payoff, I'm going to run out of steam because I don't know when that thing's coming.
Just like fashion definitely is your thing because you kept being brung back to it. Like you said, you get out, come home, you get right back into it, and here you are today still, like, this is what you love to do. You enjoy it. This is what you enjoy doing.
You know what, dude? I'm going to tell you, OG. It's been showing to me in ways where I can step out of myself. I know a guy that I went to high school with. Now, I'm in my mid-50s, okay? So was he. This guy, like, went to trade tech, I think it was, and got, like, his full plumber shit. By the time he's 23 years old, 24, he gets, like, a little businessman's loan and gets, like, the truck and does the whole, like, he's got the plumbing shit on lock. But he's kind of working for a plumber guy, and he don't really have any leads. But I remember he was always, like, passing out a card and calling. Now, fast forward. Through life, I would bump into this guy at times. And I could see sometimes he was kind of doing all right. And then sometimes he'd be, this and that. You know anybody? They're struggling. And kind of, and then I'd see him, and maybe towards our, like, 30s, this guy was like, he had that newer truck, and he walked a little different. He's like, yeah, man, we're doing we got the contract. Okay. Fast forward to, like, and by the time this guy's in his late 40s, bro, he has the fucking plumbing fucking business on the west side.
That's
Everybody.
That's
the guy's worth. He's got fucking 50 trucks out.
He stayed.
I mean, this guy he don't lift a finger. He just walks around town now.
Yes,
but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But the thing is that it took all that time to keep on being the plumber guy, so that people eventually were like, when something went wrong or somebody said, oh, I have a bust, they go, oh, you know what? So, right?
The word of mouth travels.
Word of mouth, the travel. Like, he had to stay on that shit. You got to stay on that shit because now his name's synonymous with the West Side. Every fucking restaurant, store, commercial they use him. He's the one.
That's good.
So I think, like, it's like that way to your point with the music and entertainment that you're involved in. I think it's that way for me in the clothing.
Yes.
I didn't get here by accident.
No.
You don't get here by accident.
No.
You got here because you were in this. People can run your name. People have seen you, worked with you. Hey, so yeah, okay, we know this is what you do.
Yes.
And I think like that quick response that they talk about that people are used to and the attention span thing, I believe all that, bro. I think that it's
You was with me the other day when someone called me that female needed some advice. So definitely, loved one. Like it's important, man. Just being us. It's very important.
it is, man, and it and it sometimes gets challenging in
Oh yeah.
you and when I talk to you, I'm able to talk to you about a lot of those types of things, a
Yes.
lot of a lot of this, and people sometimes they don't want to talk about all that. It's all great and gravy, and no, it's not. Like I love the idea of it's a machine, and I'm gonna get the grind on everything. But I know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I know that some days you ain't feeling it.
Yeah.
Some days you're comparing yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe some days you picked up this a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some, like we go through these things, and
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. I'm a human being, and I think like as I've grown older, I've started to also not change it instead of judge myself on it. Like instead of beat, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm just more like, I don't know, man. As I get older, I start to kind of like the self-talk that I'm having is different. Like if I ain't gonna take care of me and be good to me, then who else is?
Who else you gonna be good for?
Right.
It starts with you first. If you ain't good, then definitely can't be good for nobody else. So that's all the way facts. You got to be all the way right.
And there's, like you said, OG, you talked about it on my show. Like there's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of people struggling out there, and society's kind of built up on a way, especially for men, man, where you're not going to express that stuff, dude.
Nope.
Especially when you're young, it's very difficult for a man to say he needs help, express what's really going on. Pride, the ego, these things are built up. So, I think that guys like us standing in the light and being available and approachable
and don't judge nobody. Because that's the key thing. That's why a lot of people don't open up or they don't talk to their own peoples because they don't want to be judged. And they reach out to me and a lot of times they tell me, well, I don't want to talk to my family about it because they're going to look at me this kind of way. And, I seen the podcast and I really feel like you somebody I can talk to. And I'm like, I am.
That's it.
Definitely.
Because they got to get that. Got to
Yes.
talk to somebody.
Yeah, I need to talk to somebody. Yeah. It's bothering me.
Yeah. The power in that, it just seems so simple, but yet the power in that, it takes the air out of like some of this heavy shit,
Yes.
It's, and I think it's like, damn, dog, I think it comes right down to like our energies, man. We're not meant to be separate. Like when you see cells, if you look through a microscope, they congregate, come together, right?
Yes.
And they complete missions and do whatever it is. And it's like, man, you look at the Earth from outer space and it looks just like a motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
But, I remember you putting it out there, especially on my show. You're like, call me. If you're feeling like such and such ways, call me.
Definitely.
I'll pick up the phone,
And I do.
We ain't had nobody put it out there like that. Everybody's like, damn, for real.
And I take the calls and they call me and I give them the best advice, to the best of my knowledge. I never give them false information. I really speak to them sincerely. This is, in your situation, this is 1,000,000% what I would do in a situation like this.
You know what? You just brought up a great fact right now. You brought up something that I love, and that is, I think, like, I, myself, I'm going to speak for me, speak from experience. Personal. Let's say personal experience.
Yes.
That's where I'm speaking from. That's the only place I should be speaking from, but that's the only thing that's going to help somebody. And I have to be honest. So if it's my personal, that's, to me, solution. Ideas and theories and concepts, in my opinion, opinions are dangerous, bro.
Very.
And they're not going to, when somebody's, a lot of people just want to throw their opinions. First off, I'm not going to throw my opinion unless you ask for my,
Yeah.
And my opinion will be based off of my experience, my personal experience, man. I think that there's a lot of people out there, dude, doing a lot of fucking talking about some shit they Googled or heard or seen a video on, but they ain't had that fucking personal experience,
No.
man. And that's why they really ain't got shit to say, but they want to act like they got something to say.
Yeah, because they, you know what I mean? They want to be looked at as this macho bravo person. And I started giving my number out too because I tried to volunteer for a crisis line, suicide hotline before. And, you know, I talked to him on the phone. I would like to volunteer, explain my self-experience from me being a suicide survivor. Now I'm an activist. And it was like, yeah, man, that's good. And like, we would have to, you know, you would have to just do like 4 courses with us, which is $150 a course. and we'll train you how to talk on the phone. I said, you're going to charge me to volunteer? He's like, yeah, well, you know, you have to be trained. I said, let me ask you something. Have you ever considered suicide in your life? He like, no. And I said, you talk to people on the phone too, right? He like, yeah, I'm one of the main guys here.
Yeah.
I said, well, I just explained to you who I was and what I've been through and where I come from. I'm more self-experienced in this than you are.
Right. Maybe
Maybe I could train you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make more sense? I know what it feels like to wake up and to say, this is the day. I'm out of here today. I'm not thinking twice, and grab the gun and put it to my head, and that was it. No need to think twice. For what? This is what I'm doing. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not telling nobody. I smile on my face like it's a beautiful day. But at the same time, so I was like, you know what? I started volunteer. And another time, the news. I contacted the news and was just trying to find ways to get my story out there to uplift and inspire people and motivate people from that's going through something, because suicide is real. It don't discriminate. It has no color line, and it's starting to affect our young people. You know, from 6, 7 years up to our 20s, our 18s, our 20s, our 30s, and it's bad. So I was like, well, how can I get my story out through the news? And he said, well, to us, it's actually not news until after it happens. I said, what? So y'all thrive off death? You don't thrive off life? He said, well, to us, you know, there's a story there, you know, after someone does this. I said, man, if I was standing in front of you right now, I'm going to leave it alone. But if I was standing in front of you right now, you would feel pressure. Seriously. So that was another reason I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start giving my number out, loved one, and let people talk to me.
Yeah. Cut the bullshit.
Yeah,
Cut all the middleman out.
Y'all do it for like a lot of cats do it for light camera action when the cameras is on them and they call themselves these celebrities. And only time I see y'all is at Christmas or Thanksgiving. You know, where you at the rest of the times? You know, like this is something, you know, we'll do every single day. Look forward to this. Yeah. Just being a positive impact, you know, pushing hard to be the face of never give up.
That job doesn't have any days off.
No.
Sorry.
None.
You know, and the other thing is, I really believe, man, like I've come to the conclusion that either you just are, either are. I don't know, bro. I mean, I hate to just say that, but it's like, because I feel like I've always felt this way. I feel like I went through stages of my life where I had to suppress it, or drug suppress it, or I had to, or, you know what I'm saying? But that I've always had a compassion and humanity for man, for everything though too. You know, and I don't like all of it, bro. You know, and prefer peace, and you know, and the things that, you know, in a lot of ways, man, in things and the choices that I did as a scared kid behind some stuff in my childhood, you know, and I did a lot of things to my body and my exterior to keep people away, you know. So it sometimes what ends up, you look at it and it looks one way, it might really be the opposite of that in many ways. And I feel like after I started getting cleaned up, that the original real Steve inside has had a chance to come out.
That's
and that
good.
guy, calls his friends and is there for his family, and people know he's going to show up and tries to help out and make better the people's lives that I come into contact with and stay contact. And I ain't no fucking angel, and I don't do anything perfect, but that's who I am. And the longer that I stay living on the right path and allow that guy to come out, it's the same one. He's the same kid that was in there the whole time. And so I think that there's a lot of craziness out there, man. And it's hard it's hard, man. Like, damn, dude, I was listening to Pac and Thug Life, and that shit definitely put me in some moods, back in when I was a young man, right? And so now I'm thinking about everything that's out there. It impresses upon our youth, and I need to just
destroys them.
I need to be somebody
Guidance,
that
yes,
isn't doing that.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? I just can't be a part of that problem.
No, don't want no parts of it.
I'll be over here. So if somebody wants to do something different or something positive or whatever the fuck,
I'm with that.
I'm here. Yeah.
And like I say all the time, I don't mind being the turtle in the race with the rabbit because I'm going to win in the end.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want to uplift our young people. That's why they reach out to me, because they know it's sincere. They know it's not a gimmick. It's nothing fake about it. It's not false. It's like they look at me and say, he get it. He understand. Yep. He really understands. Just like with my life, I have no regrets in life because everything I went through made me who I am today, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely.
It made you who you are. Timing is everything. When we was out in them streets and just doing grimy stuff, that was our life. We were so caught up in that, there was like a cloud around us that we couldn't see through.
Absolutely.
And you grow with time. I always say, man, life is like, wine. The longer it ages, the better it gets. That's the same thing with life. The older we get, the smarter we get. Everybody's not going to grow up. I had to learn that too.
Yeah, bro.
And we can't force success on nobody. We can't force no one to grow up, to do it different. They got to get their own knots on their head and figure out, I don't want no more knots. Sure. That's how I feel like, I'm tired of the knots. Let me do something different. Let me try this. And I'm going to put that same energy that I was putting in the negative me and the positive me, but I'm going to put 2, 3, 4, 5 times harder with the positive. And it grew. Right. And I loved it. It feels good, man. And I say it also, when I leave here, I want to, whenever that time comes that I leave here, I want to leave here on the note of like the good things.
Sure.
I did in the world, not, oh yeah, man, when he was in the streets, boy. No, man, his podcast, saving lives, is changing lives, and like major impact. That's what it's about, man. And it feels good. It really feels good. I enjoy this. I enjoy it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to stay the. When I leave here, I'm going to leave a mark, not a stain.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to leave a mark,
not a stain.
And you know what? And I'm not. And I certainly am one of these guys that's hating on what people need to do, hating on the homies or the old man. Like, my phone is on, man. I get everybody in every condition calling me. I love my homies. I got a lot of homies that are solid, in and out, and they're holding it solid. I respect and love them. That doesn't mean that I've chosen to take that path. That's what I'm about. But I certainly also don't hate on. I got love for my homies. I got love for you. Got to do what you got to do, and I got to do what I got to do.
And I get hate too because I'm not the old me.
Oh yeah.
I don't get that support from people. I expected them to support me all the way through the bad and now through the good, and I don't see it, and I'd be like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I like they say, like crabs in the bucket. They want to pull you down. I can't. I done that. I'm doing this. It's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's about uplifting people, inspiring people to want to live, because a lot of people in this world feel like they're alone. like they in this world by themselves. Like they the only ones that go through something. And I'm just here to paint a picture and show them that you're not alone. You're not the only one that go through something. Let's figure out the solution. Straight out. I'm OG Cuicide. This is OG Cuicide in the building. I got my loved one in the building with me, my fam, man. Lucky in the building. Oh, and by the way, stop being rookies and get with them cookies.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Peace.